Hello Guru Nation and welcome back to the Maple Table. My name's Nathaniel. This is a channel where we discuss role-playing games such as Werewolf the Apocalypse and Starfinder. Currently we're going to be talking about Werewolf the Apocalypse. Today I want to talk a little bit about the Umbra. Some would call it the Umbra, and I don't like that pronunciation, so I'm going to say Umbra. You may have heard me mention that werewolves can step sideways, some of the Fera. The other changing breeds, they cannot. The Umbra is where they step sideways into. What is it? The Umbra is the spirit world. At least that's the name that you would call the whole thing. There are many layers to it, like an onion. The first layer that you go into, and it's the one that most werewolves will step sideways into, it is called the penumbra. It is the closest thing that mimics our real world. So what do you see when you're there? Excellent question. What you would see is actually more a reflection of the physical world versus the spiritual world. If there's a city and a building that has been there for quite some time in the real world, in the spirit world, what you're going to see is either, if it's a newer building, you're probably not going to see it there or not much of a footprint, but if it's been there for a while, you're going to see that building in the spirit realm. Glades or parks or just general areas of nature that get bulldozed and then put cities or buildings on top of, their presence will fade in the Umbra as well over time. To get into the Umbra, you have to cross what's called the gauntlet, and this is a veil that separates the spirit world and the physical world. When you're in a city or somewhere that has a large touch of the Weaver, it's actually much harder to cross over into the spirit world than it is if you were in some place that was more touched by the wild. And you're looking at more nature, forests and parks. Those places are much easier to step sideways in than in a city, for example. In order to make crossing over easier for werewolves, typically they will carry with them some sort of reflective surface, like a mirror or a shiny piece of metal, because having a reflective surface actually makes it much easier to slip into the spirit world. The next layer to travel to, and this one would be a little bit more dangerous, would be the near Umbra. The near Umbra is kind of the next step. Think of it almost like a passageway that you can use to get to other realms. There's pocket realms and the astral plane, many different versions of reality that will exist within this section of the spirit world, but it's a little bit harder to get to, and it's more further removed from your reality. Things start to get a little abstract here. Just because you've walked a mile or 1.6 kilometers in the Umbra doesn't necessarily mean you will have walked 1.6 kilometers or a mile in the real world. If you were to do some traveling in the near Umbra and pop back into the physical realm, you might not be anywhere close to where you started. You could actually be 3 or 4 miles down the road, which would be 6.4 kilometers actually, if you were using the 4 miles. Things don't happen in the near Umbra the same. It gets a little wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey kind of thing. The Bastet, which I will talk about in the future, they have a rite that they can perform, and it creates a pocket realm inside the Umbra. In my opinion, I believe that it forms itself in the near Umbra, and only that Bastet is able to enter it. At least you wouldn't want to enter it uninvited. In here you can start to find some pretty nasty spirits. You could actually have found them in like Banes and other sorts of things in the penumbra as well. Any sort of malevolent spirit that's going to be in the penumbra, they like to possess the shadows of humans and try to cross over that way. And that's how a lot of atrocities are done, is because the people were possessed by some sort of spirit. And so that's how the penumbra works. In the near Umbra, that's where it gets a little bit more vicious. You won't see as many echoes of humans' presence in the near Umbra. The closer you come to the deep Umbra, or the far Umbra, depending on whatever you want to call it, the closer you come to death, really, really nasty places like the Abyss or the Malphaeus, where the worm is rumored to be captured and bound. Those really nasty places you can find in the deep Umbra. And you can actually find places like Stygia. This would be the city of the dead. And it's the one that Wraith takes place in. The Silent Striders, they know a rite that gets the Guru from the physical world into the deep Umbra. Very few know it, but it has been passed around among the tribes. Not a lot of guru like to go to the deep Umbra because of how dangerous it is and how close to death it is, and just straight up how difficult it is. I would save any deep Umbra trips for higher level characters or a higher level game. If you're interested in learning a little bit more about the Umbra, I will leave a link in the description below for where I purchased the Velvet Shadow, which is the werewolf book on the Umbra and all the realms and things within it. Stay tuned for future videos where we deep dive more into the areas of the Umbra, but I wanted to talk a little bit about it today. If you found the video useful today, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, as it really does help the channel grow. And if you share this video with your friends who are also interested in the werewolf system, love to have them check out this content as well. My name's Nathaniel. You've been watching The Maple Table. Thanks for stopping by, everyone.